Creating and configuring a virtual machine is one of the daily tasks the infrastructure engineer have to work on every day. Let's look at the two different approaches of how we can actually manage the life cycle of the infrastructure within Nutanix. Approach 1 is actually to use manual provisioning or Prism Central to create a virtual machines. The infrastructure engineers will then configure the virtual machines to join the Active Directory. They will also do manual configuration to join to the DNS and IP address management if necessary. The second approach is to use Nutanix CAM to automate the creation of virtual machines or multiple virtual machines as prescribed by the application team. In the automation, we can actually use CAM to configure the virtual machines to join to the Active Directory and configure the virtual machines to join to the DNS server. Now, let's look at the benefit of using CAM to automate the provisioning. First, it can make cloud invisible with a one-click infrastructure setup with built-in provisioning, network security, and application monitoring. Second, it actually allows consistent applications quality by having a repeatable and consistent infrastructure and middleware setup for all applications. Third, it actually allows fast goes to market by automating the infrastructure application deployment in seconds. It is also coming with built-in governance and auditability, providing cost savings to our customers. Let's go into the demo now. In this use case, I'm going to use Prism Central to create a virtual machine manually. This is the Prism Central interface. I'm going to use Prism Central interface to create a virtual machine. Click on the Create Virtual Machine button. It brings out the wizard for me to input my virtual machine's details. Let's give it a vCPU, a memory, and we're going to tell Prism Central that we're going to create this virtual machine from the image services. I'm going to create a Windows Server 2016 virtual machines. Let's give it a default NIC card and let's click on Save. Let's find the virtual machines that we created just now. I'm going to power on the virtual machines. Let's look into the console. Let's key in the login details and log into the Windows. Let's click on the control panel. In the control panel, I'm going to go to the system. In the system, you can see that the computer is actually linked to a workgroup. It is not linked to the Active Directory. Let's switch over to CAM to see how CAM can be used to automate the provision of a virtual machine. You can see that I'm going to create a single virtual machine blueprint. Let's give the blueprint a title. Let's give it to a project. Let's fill out the virtual machine's details. We'll see that this is going to be a Windows virtual machines. In the blueprint, I'm going to select the Windows Server 2016 virtual machines template. I'm going to give it a network card. And I'm going to save this blueprint. I'm going to launch the application now. You can see that COM is queuing out the blueprint. It will take a couple of minutes to create the virtual machines. We can look at the audit details. After a couple of minutes, you can see that COM have already provisioned the virtual machines. You can see the IP address in the overall overview. You can actually look at one virtual machine is actually created. Let's look at the second use case now. I'm going to use COM to automate the provisioning of the virtual machines and to join the virtual machines into the Active Directory domain. Now let's click on COM. Let's go into this COM blueprint. In this COM blueprint, you can see that this is a virtual machines that I'm going to create. I'm going to specify Windows Server 2016. Let's look at the package. In the package, under the configuration of install, I'm going to click on join domain. In the join domain, I'm going to put a set of PowerShell script. So this PowerShell script will actually register these virtual machines with the Active Directory. Now I'm going to launch the blueprint. Let's give it a name. In the domain and the ADIP, you can see that I'm actually trying to tell the blueprint that I'm going to configure the virtual machines to connect to this Active Directory domain and Active Directory IP. It will take a few minutes for the blueprint to be completed. Now let's look at how the provisioning goes. You can see that the Windows virtual machine has already completed to join the domain successfully. Right, you can see that the virtual machine is also created. Now let's take the IP address. Let's do a remote desktop into this particular Windows machines. Let's click on the control panel. In the system, you can see that this Windows machine is actually connected to the Active Directory. Thank you for watching this video. For further questions, please contact our Nutanix professionals for further discussion.